Let's create a fabulous set of cards that you could give as a gift or have on hand when you need that special card. We're going to be featuring the Attention Shoppers bundle. And guys, these cards are super fun to create. Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Connie Stewart with Simply Simple Stamping, and you are joining me today for another Tuesday tip video. And today we're going to focus on creating gift card sets. The best gift you can give is a gift of a hand-stamped card. So let's create a really great set that you can give. Are you ready to get started? All right, guys, it really is a simple set of cards to create. Friends, there's a free download that goes along with my video today. So you're going to have the photos, you're going to have all the measurements that you need, and of course my supply list. If you need to come back and watch the video, you could click or scan the QR code. And of course, if you're ready to order that Attention Shoppers bundle and you're in the United States, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So it might look like a lot of supplies, but it's really not. So I have 5 card bases in basic thick white. These are all 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Next, you're going to need some basic white. I've got 5 squares that are 2.5 by 2.5, and then I have 5 rectangles that are 1.5 by 2.5. And of course, we're going to need some colored layers. So these larger pieces are 3 3/4 by 5. My squares are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And our colors today are Pumpkin Pie, Melon Mambo, Granny Apple Green, Daffodil Delight, and the brand new color Summer Splash. The star of the show is the brand new stamp set and die set called Attention Shoppers. I love this one, and I gotta tell you, even though the shopping cart is really cute, it was all the sentiments and all of these images that really caught my eye, and they're perfect for today's cards. Let's start our stamping, and I'm going to be using the Memento black ink pad, and I am just going to be stamping each image inside each of the 1.5 by 2.5 basic white. Now the little champagne bottle, I'm actually going to stamp 2. So to do that, we'll put 1 down here in the bottom left corner, and then we'll rotate it around and stamp again. Time to color all of our images in. Now you can use either your Stampin' Blends or your Stampin' Write markers. Both are going to work great. I thought for today I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends. Let's start with those champagne bottles. So I'm going to start with my Summer Splash Dark, and I'm going to color half of that little label. Now I can come in with the light, and you can see I'll blend these two together. And when you blend that light up against the dark, you kind of get a nice, nice little two-tone, little ombre. It looks really good. Okay, now let's come in with some Daffodil Delight. And you know what? It's such a small area. I'm not going to try to blend. You can use either your dark or your light. I'm going to go ahead and use the dark here. And now with the dark Granny Apple Green, I'm going to come in and just kind of give just a little curve there to my bottle. Come all the way around there, all the way up here. And then with the light, I'll blend those two together. And I'm going to come back in with that Summer Splash. Let's add just a little bit of color there to the cap. For my bouquet of flowers, I'm going to just go ahead and color all of the flowers in my Daffodil Delight Dark blend. Let's add a little Melon Mambo. I'm going to trace the outside of the paper for the bouquet. I think I'll just color the bottom area here all the way. And I will blend those two colors together now with the Melon Mambo Light. For this one, you're going to want to kind of get in between the daisies. So this shopping bag kind of reminded me of the little bag from Tiffany's, and I love anything from Tiffany's. So I'm going to bring in that Summer Splash, which is just a perfect Tiffany blue, don't you think? And just kind of like we did before on the bottle, I'm just going to kind of round that up. I'm going to go ahead and trace the entire bag there. I want to avoid the ribbon because you know at Tiffany's the ribbon is always white. Now I can come in with the light summer splash, and let's color all that and blend that light and dark together. For my birthday cake, we're going to use our Melon Mambo again, and I'm going to trace just like I've done here with the dark. On this little narrow one, I think I'll just use one little line of the dark. And now I can blend those together with the Melon Mambo light. A little dark pumpkin pie for my candle flame. And now for that sweet little potted plant, I'm going to take my dark granny apple green and I'm going to kind of get at the base of those leaves. Now I can come in with the light and we'll blend those together. On the pot, I'm going to take that center stripe in some Daffodil Delight Dark, and then I'm just going to color the pot in the Melon Mambo Dark. Time to bring in those dies. So we are going to run each of these through our die cutting machine. You can do several, maybe 3 at the same time, whatever you're comfortable with. I know sometimes with the dies having too many at one time can be a little nerve-wracking. So just feel free to break that up however you want. And you do see you are going to need to run the bottles through twice. All right, I have everything die cut. Now we're going to bring in some blending brushes so that these fabulous images have a really great background to make them pop. When you're ready to recreate these cards, you're going to love to have my free download. Friends, you can find this at simplysimplestamping.com or just look down in the YouTube description for a direct link to today's blog post. So we had those 5 pieces of basic white. So I'm going to start with 2. I've got 3 colors of ink pads, Summer Splash, Melon Mambo, and Granny Apple Green. Let's go ahead and start with our Summer Splash. And I want to very lightly ink up my blending brush. Now you can see here, this one has a great big soft. So let's do that one first. I just use a really, really light touch. And I want to just create a circle image. Remember, the middle of this is going to be hidden, but I really want to get as much as that color there to the edge. That looks nice. You see with this one, I'm actually a little bit heavier and a little bit smaller. So I'm going to ink that up. I'll start here in the middle, and you can see it's a little bit darker color. You can press a little bit harder when you want a little bit deeper color. So about something like this. Now, should you get something that you just don't like, flip it over and do it again. Before I get too far, let me bring in my images and see what I think. Yep, I like that, and I like that. Now, you notice this one, I do have the word thanks stamped actually on the piece of basic white. Let's go ahead and do that really quick. There we go. Okay, those 2 are done. Let me set that off to the side. I've got 2 more of those white pieces, and you see we're going to use a little Melon Mambo on this one. So I've got another blending brush, and guys, kind of like with that last one, how we did one that's a little bit deeper and darker. I'm going to do that right here. That's going to be for my flowers. And you know what? I think that's a little dark. I'm actually going to flip this over, and let's try again. There we go. I think that one looks better. Now for our birthday cake. Yep, I think that looks great. I'll set those off to the side. And now my last card are those sweet little champagne bottles. So again, just a little bit of Granny Apple Green. So I've just kind of mixed up all the colors. You see I've added those to my 3 3/4 by 5. Let's do a little stamping on these pieces. And all of our sentiments will be in the Memento Black. On our shopping bag, we can say treat yourself. And then I can add my little Tiffany bag with a couple Stampin' Dimensionals. Here's our thanks card. Remember, we already did the sentiment there. And now with a couple Stampin' Dimensionals, adding my flower pot just for you. And we'll add our bouquet of flowers. Time for our birthday cake. So of course the sentiment is happy birthday. To add our champagne bottles, I have adhesive on just one. All right, so I want that one to lay kind of off to the side, and this one right here on top. Now, I did a little creativity here with my sentiment, because the sentiment says shopping is always a good idea. Well, I got to thinking champagne is always a good idea. So I don't want the phrase shopping is. Here's what I'm going to do. I've got just a little piece of Scotch tape, and I'm just going to cover up just that part. Okay, see how I did that? I'm now going to ink up my stamp. I will remove my tape, and now I can stamp my sentiment. Always a good idea. Now, these are all very clean and simple cards, so I wanted to make sure they had plenty of wow factor. I added Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of the 3 3/4 by 5 just to give it a nice lift and really make them kind of amazing cards. Now for the inside, I did leave everything blank. I kind of like a blank set of note cards sometimes, but I want you to be creative. You could stamp the sentiment again on the inside. You could stamp each of the images, and but if you're going to color those in, I do need to warn you, if you're going to color those in, you've got to be very careful with the Stampin' Blends bleeding through. So you might either want to consider coloring those with your Stampin' Write markers, or go ahead and stamp these images twice so that you can add them to the inside of the cards. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope that you were inspired. If you were, give me a thumbs up on YouTube. I always love that. And if you haven't subscribed, take a moment to click that subscribe button there on YouTube, and they'll let you know whenever I'm back with another video. Have a fantastic day, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.